Alright, here we have my new Safetran hybrid bell. These are pretty neat little bells. They're rather unique, especially here in the US. As you can see, they're a lot thinner than a standard mechanical bell because the mechanism's all up underneath the gong. These were made by Safetran, it looks like starting in like the early to mid 90s based on the fact that you got the Hawker Siddeley logo back there. While I think the design actually dates back to probably at least the 70s or 80s with the Westinghouse hybrid used down in Australia. Though those used a different gong that was much deeper sounding. This just has a standard Safetran gong on it. They of course have a cast on 5-inch base. Not really too much to see on the outside here, but they have a very recognizable shape. Because I would tap the gong, but as you can see, it doesn't really like to make much of a noise because the armature of the solenoid, which I believe acts as the clapper for the hammer, which I believe acts as the clapper for the bell, excuse me. As you can, it rests against the bell when the bell is off. It rests against the gong when the bell is off, if it's standing upright like this. But they are very neat little bells. I'm glad I finally have one. These were primarily used on former Conrail and Illinois Central lines back in the 90s. The Chicago Northwestern also used these some too. And the Norfolk Southern also installed at least 2 of these as part of like a very short-lived trial of them, it seems like, because there's one in Bellevue, Ohio on the Norfolk Southern Cleveland district, which is not former Conrail. And then there's also one down in Mobile, Alabama on what I believe is an out-of-service spur crossing that I believe Norfolk Southern owns. And that also is definitely not former Conrail because Conrail never ran this far south. Certainly not all the way to the Gulf Coast. Most of the hybrids that got installed here in Alabama were down around Mobile on the former Illinois Central lines down there. And but they were also used by other railroads, like some short lines also used them, such as the Birmingham Southern here in Alabama, which installed the closest one to me up down Bessemer, which I've quartered twice now. But glad to finally have one of these to call my own. But they are also used by several short lines out in, don't believe there are 2 popular short lines, but I do know a few others out in California, like the Central California Traction Company, if I recall correctly, and I think, I'm not too familiar with the short line names out there, but like the Sacramento Northern, I think, and that other one, that G&W owned one, that Mobile Rail Spotter, has filmed a few times. Those all have Safetran hybrids, along with some of the excursion railroads out there. Of course, the Sackert there in Sacramento also had a pair of these that sadly were replaced, I want to say this past winter, and if I recall correctly that is. And there are also, I want to say, a few on the Los Angeles light rail too, though I don't know how many of those still remain. They were also used by the New Jersey Transit up in New Jersey some. Don't think they used too many of them. There's only like probably a handful left, but I did record a couple on the New Jersey Transit when I was up there in 2017, along with at least one former Conrail, at least a couple of former Conrail hybrids on the CSX River line. But I'm gonna real fast stop the video so I can take off the gong and show you all the internal mechanism. Alright, here's the inside of the hybrid bell. Took off the gongs, that way you can see the internal mechanisms. Maintainers, from what I heard chatting with a Canadian National maintainer in Memphis last summer, apparently maintainers don't really much care for these bells because wasps like to get up underneath the gong and build a nest, which is kind of a problem when that's the only way you can access the internals for them. But yeah, as you can see, that you got the solenoid down here, and you can see what I'm talking about by how it rests going down like that. You got up here, which I guess is probably a capacitor, or at least the controls for the solenoid. And of course up here you got the connections. Positive is on top, negative is on bottom. by the way, for anyone curious. There's a look at where the wires come in from. A pretty nice little bell here. Here's the inside of the gong. As you can see, it's a bit rusty on the inside from where I think some rain or something got in. Down here, if you notice, you can actually see there, not sure what you can see, but right down there, you have a dent from where the solenoid's been striking. So I'm probably going to turn this 90 degrees to the right when I put it on, so that way it's striking the bell a bit better. But yeah, just so here's the inside of it. Actually, before I paid for this, still in my opinion, still kind of overpaid for a crossing bell, but this was the best deal I could find online. It was $350 plus shipping, which still worked out to be less than $400, which was the next cheapest bell I found, which was like $400 plus shipping on eBay. For a while, these things were way overpriced. There was that one hybrid that got listed without a gong last summer, and I think the bids on it got up over $2,000 before the person took it down, because I guess they found a gong. It's still on eBay for a much cheaper price than that. I think it's still close to $1,000. It's certainly more than I paid for this. Certainly way more than I'd pay for a crossing bell, usually, anyways. But it does have a gong for it now, though I don't think it's an actual Safetran gong, so I have no idea how that one would sound. There's also one that's on eBay for $400 plus shipping, I want to say. Don't know if it works or not, though. And I think this one's just in slightly better shape than the other one. But I'm glad to finally have one. And my bell collection here is now finally complete, because I have all the crossing bells I really want to get. I actually did not intend to get a Brock or an LS Brock bell or a Wabco bell, or two Wabco bells, which I actually had an easier time finding two different Wabco bells and buying them than finding a Safetran hybrid for a good price. But yeah, just thought I'd show this to y'all. So I'm gonna see about setting this thing up to run now. Over and out. Alright, just a quick update that I'm going to be tacking on to the end of the little walk around video spell. Unfortunately, the B pack here, which you know is a little timer for this thing, unfortunately it does not work. I don't know what happened, must have failed somewhere in transit, but that does not work anymore. As you can see right there, I've got a flasher, turn signal flasher relay in there. Unfortunately, this particular one is just a bit too slow, so I've gone ahead and ordered an adjustable flash relay, so hopefully that'll work. These particular little things though are made by Infinitec Incorporated. I don't know what series they are though, so I don't know which one I'd need to order as a replacement, but I've ordered an adjustable flash relay, so hopefully I can get one that will get this thing to run at a better pace. Seems the solenoid also likes to stick sometimes. Not doing it now, but I've been able to. But that thing has stuck a couple times running on this flash relay, where it just kind of hangs in the raised position. Doesn't seem to affect the bell's operation too much though. But maybe that just needs like a bit of oil or something. But yeah, this thing should be running hopefully soon. But I won't be able to film it today. Might be able to film it Tuesday at the earliest. So yeah. Over and out.